Hello everyone, I'm Madame Sensei. I teach Spanish, French, and Japanese out here in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. And I'm talking about GLAD techniques that I have adapted for use in the secondary classroom. GLAD again stands for Guided Language Acquisition Development. And today I'm going to talk about the GOIC, the Graphic Organizer Input Chart. They always just abbreviate it to GOIC. So I'm going to tell you about how I adapted this to work in my secondary school, where I only have the students for an hour each day, or maybe an hour and 20 minutes every other day. So remember, we were talking about the process grid in the last episode, and we were talking about how the process grid is the foundation of all things GLAD. You start with the process grid, you pick it apart in front of the students, you put it back together with the students' help, and at the end of the day, you have the process grid again, and you're like, wow, that was circle of life. So there's always gaps of information that the students have to fill in, but they're filling in the process grid that you have made beforehand. Before the students even set foot in the classroom, you sat down and made a process grid. Okay, here's another process grid. I kind of changed it into a skill grid, as I explained last episode, where instead of, hey, here's a bunch of facts I want you to know, I had the terms we're working on the left-hand side and the skills we're working on the top. Okay, and then the students fill in with their own information. But let me explain exactly what a graphic organizer input chart is. So take a good look at this, and we're going to zoom in right here on that left-hand column. This entire left-hand column becomes your GOIC, your graphic organizer input chart. Everything that you had written down there, whether it's here I have classes in school, or earlier I had famous musicians, or if you want to do places to buy food, or whatever you come up with, this is your GOIC, the left-hand side of the process grid. Okay, now I have to pause and explain my thinking, because this is a picture I took from GLAD's Gimme 5 training video. Normally, your GOIC is a giant poster in class, and you've drawn all over it, and then you've written little terms on it and everything, and the students come up and look at the poster, and they write down their notes, and they go back to their tables and stuff. But I'm in a high school classroom. GLAD is really developed for elementary school. You've got the same 35 students all day long for the whole year. I'm in a high school. I've got 130 students that cycle through my classroom, depending on the hour. So here's my classroom. I teach 3 languages, and real estate is really, really precious. So I stole all the projector screens that were being thrown away, and I wrote my supports on them, my conjugation supports. So I can pull up the projector screen, and right behind it, I have a whiteboard that I can work on. So like when Spanish class is in, this projector screen is up, and the Spanish targets are on the board behind this. And then I have another one for Spanish with the Spanish conjugations. And when I pull that up, I have all French information on the back of that, all our learning targets and stuff like that. And then here's a scene of my Japanese wall. And this one I just use pockets, and the students can come and we reorder all the hiragana and katakana and everything until they've got it. But at any rate, I don't have much real estate. And if I have 6 classes a day and I have a GOIC up for each class, or even if I have one GOIC up for several classes, that's a lot of real estate that I'm using up on that thing, instead of the normal supports, the rejoinders, the conjugation charts, the if I just want to like put up the student work for like, hey, this is what we've been working on, I don't have space to do it, especially if I put up GOIC charts everywhere. Okay. So the next thing I thought about is how hands-on I am. I really, really like my students to have something in their hands, and I'm very game-based. You'll watch my other videos and see all the games that I use instead of boring old worksheets. And so I decided, what if I combine those two ideas? If instead of a poster, I've got a game board, and there's no worksheet, and then, but the game board, the students can move around the game board, so they're moving around the GOIC. And so my first pass of this was what I call Clue-o-lingo. I used all the Duolingo characters and some Duolingo pictures, and I made all the classrooms on a clue board. And now the students can like physically manipulate where they're going to the classes, and they can talk about what they need for each class. And they can play Clue, which is a very communicative language approach, right? We'll talk about that in an upcoming video. But yeah, I like this much better. So now I just go to each table group and I plop down a game board in front of them, and they can work with the terms instead of the terms being passively pasted on the wall. And I'll show you a quick video in action.
Regular. Oh.
Wait, didn't you also have like?
Ah, en français, en français.
What?
You have Lily?
En
français.
Yeah, I have Lily 100%.
All
What?
sweet.
On speech.
Oh. Go more detail on what?
Quoi?
Que?
Quoi?
Quoi.
Que? Yeah.
Ketchup.
What? Oh.
No.
Oh, tu es en une chambre, oui. Okay.
Oui.
Okay.
Aiden. Lily a crayon dans la classe d'histoire.
No.
No, like no.
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 No. All sweet.
Bien.
Merci. Toi. Bougez-moi toi. S'il te plaît. Merci. Voilà.
Oh.
Voila.
Madame.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, amazing. I kept this video short. In our next episode, we're going to talk about the pictorial input chart, the PIC. For some bizarre reason, we always say GOIC, but we don't really say PIC all that much. We say pictorial input chart. That'll be the next episode. If you want to see a write-up of this, I've got it attached on my website, studio-nemo.com. Also links for where my 2 books are being sold. This one's a freebie. So, all right, hope to see you on the next one.